Right, I've just popped down to JB's. He's asked me to come round to show him how to do a bit of rolling today. So I'm going to give him a knock, see if he's up, and we'll get on with it.
Not today, sorry.
Here he is. Perfect. How you doing, mate? You alright? Good to see you.
Son?
Yeah,
Come in, mate. Come in.
Okey-dokey.
Lovely, Joe, thank you for coming up to my humble home. None other than Joe Turnbull, bait world, carp world, international bait superstar.
One day.
One day,
Yeah, no.
it's all going well for you, mate.
Yeah, not doing too bad at the moment.
Yeah, cool. Like I say, thanks for coming up, mate. But yeah, as you know, I just wanted you to come up and show us how easy it really is to roll bait from your own home.
Well, it can be simple, can't it? I mean, you get
I don't
people.
know.
Yeah, I mean, you get people tinkering with rigs.
Yeah,
like I said before.
we love it.
But they never really tinker with a bait, really.
Yeah.
They can buy a bag, don't they?
Yeah, of course they do. I mean, the thing is, all I would say, you know, fishing, you know, obviously we're completely obsessed by it. But, you know, like myself, a family man, and yourself, you can't be fishing all the time. No. And I think sometimes just to get out of the way a little bit when she's watching EastEnders and stuff, isn't it? It's nice to come and do your own stuff in the shed, the garage, or like today, even in the kitchen. Okay, Joe, so before you start weaving your magic, I just need to say at this juncture that I'm actually sponsored by DNA, and we do a home rolling kit. So I've asked Jason to send one of them down, so that's what we're using today, obviously.
Yeah, we've got, well, we started off, we've got a liquid food.
So what is this? All right, start me from the very beginning.
Right, this is the beginning.
Right,
yeah?
good.
Right. So this, basically you've got a liquid food. Right?
Yeah.
So liquid food, you've got, this is a krill hydroslate. Basically it's...
What does hydroslate mean?
It's a pure liquid, so it's a pure krill. They've taken as much as they can out of the actual solid krill. Right. And now you've got a pure liquid krill. Yeah.
And for anybody watching at home, obviously when you're watching Attenborough and stuff, and you see all these sperm whales, one of the biggest animals on the planet, and you find out it lives on krill, which is basically like a plankton. Yeah, like a microorganism.
Yeah. And not only that, it's obviously got soluble proteins which are in there already.
Right. What are your proteins in?
Well, they are part of your food source.
Right.
So they will give you your proteins.
Just like for a human.
Yeah, exactly the same as a human. Yeah. I mean, the more we can give them in the way of nutritional balance food-wise, the better for them. Yeah. You know, the longer they're going to live. That's the way I see it. You know, and that's the way a lot of companies see it. So that's what they've done. And
obviously you're not pumping DNA up because, like I said, I'm with them anyway. But this is a very viable food source. Then it's not a sniff and catch bait that we're putting together today, then, is it?
No, without a doubt. It's similar to the L030, which is what DNA do as well. Right. Which is another kind of food source on its own. Yeah. But obviously they've added a few other little bits and pieces to this.
So this is one of the main components. So what else?
It is the main component to the actual base mix.
To the base mix.
Usually you could probably buy all those little ingredients separate. Yeah. But DNA have made it simple for everyone.
And put it all in one liquid.
In one bucket.
Yeah. Right. Cool. So that's that one. So what comes next, then, Joe?
The next comes out the base. Excuse me, the base mix, which is the powdered additives.
Right.
In terms of general pack, it should be a fish meal base mix.
Like a fish meal.
So it'll be LT94. This is what most of the companies are using, or something that substitutes that. And it should have some of the other bits and pieces in there. But this one I think is a shrimp liver and krill. So you've got shrimp additive in there.
Yeah, the SLK.
Optimum amounts of liver in there.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got extra krill in there again, but probably a powdered additive rather than a liquid form, which is that. Yeah. This has got everything in it already. Sometimes when you sift through, you can find odd lumps of bits and pieces. That's just the drying. That's just the other inclusions that are in the base mix. They're tiny little bits sometimes. Sometimes they're bigger than others. There's one little bit there. That can just be like the green lip mussel that's in there as added powder. Sometimes in transit they can bulk together sometimes where they're so fine they can create themselves a little sort of rock again. So you just want to break those up before you start.
Lovely. So what, in terms of powder and stuff and one egg, so what are the components in terms of weight ratios and stuff?
Right, well, the easiest way to do it, without having to measure anything out, is literally, you'll start by breaking one egg. So we'll do that, shall we? In a bucket, one egg. Put that as one side. A fork we need just to mix that egg up, which is in here, I believe. Yeah, lovely. And we'll just give that a little bit of a mix. So you can get the egg broken up. Okay, so from there, you've got your dry base mix. We've put your egg in your bucket. Literally your liquid food. There's not a recommended amount that you can put in, but I'll start off by putting around about, per one egg mix, probably 20 ml.
So what would that be, like a capful?
A capful.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. That might be a little bit more than 20 ml, but it doesn't matter. You can overdo it with this stuff because it is a liquid food in itself, so it really doesn't matter. So just bit in the cap. It doesn't matter if a bit leaks out. That goes into the egg. Put the lid back on. I'll stick that to one side because we don't need that anymore, believe it or not. And you've got that added to your egg. So you want to mix that in. It doesn't matter if you've got anything stuck to the sides, don't worry about that too much. Don't be too particular. You'll pick that up when you put the base mix in there, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So to make things simple, you don't even have to measure this stuff out. Okay. Once you've done it a few times, you'll get used to it. But it is literally a case of adding bit by bit just to that liquid that's in the bucket. Keep stirring it up. Give it a little stir, and you'll find that that liquid will just absorb that really easy at the start. Oh, blimey, it's lucky we didn't do it on the bank. Look at that rain, John.
Mate, that is terrible.
Hammering it down. So you want to add a little bit more to that.
Is there any way you can sort of get used to this, like by using 1 egg per half a cup full of powder, or is there an easy way, or do you just normally just keep adding it until the consistency is right?
This is the best way to do it, because if you add too much powder to that amount of liquid, you'll end up with just a complete crumbly mess, and it won't stick together, it won't bind together. If you have too much liquid and not enough powder, then you'll find you'll have a stodgy mess, which is no good. So that's the sort of consistency you're looking for the time being. It's kind of just a bit of a stodgy mess, if you like, a bit of a stodgy mix. All right. Okay, so once you've done that, you've got to that point. You've almost got your paste. You want to get that paste so that it's not sticky. So when you actually stick it to your hands, you'll get some on your hands. You want to get it so it doesn't do that. You want to get it so it just. If you look at that, see the way it's sort of sticking to my fingers. That's what you don't want, okay? But that's not a problem. That's perfect at the moment. So what we'll do, back in the bucket, a bit more dry ingredient. But don't go mad. Just add a touch. You're better off to have not enough than too much. Back in the bucket, give it a bit of a knead. Right, so that's the sort of consistency you want to get. So the paste is not sticky now. Although I've got it on my hands, but it's not actually sticking. Okay, so that's the sort of consistency you want to get to. You want to get the paste so that it's not sticking to your fingers. Okay, and that is ready to go in the gun. Or if you wanted to, didn't have a gun, you can always roll those by hand, literally. Just plonk that there for a minute. But obviously it takes a lot longer, so you're better off to go and buy yourself, a gun and a table. So yeah, there you go. So now the paste is formed, you want to roll it into a kind of sausage shape really, so it's ready to go into the gun. So it'll just be easy to put in there. So let's give that a go. Create a bit more space for yourself. This is the gun. I just wanted to say quickly, you can buy two types of gun. You've got an expensive one, or you've got a cheaper version. They both do exactly the same job, but you can get more paste in this. If you was going to roll yourself some more, you can get more in this one. So this is what I use.
That looks like you did it on masticing around the windows, the other one, Joe.
Don't tell anyone.
Is that your secret weapon?
Don't tell anyone. So, sausage goes in there, like that. Nozzle goes on the top. You want to pump the sausage that's inside there until it's tight. So keep your thumb over the nozzle, just so you can feel the pressure. It wants to come out, then stop it from coming out. That way, all the paste is up to as far as it's going to go now, and that's ready to pump out into the onto the table. Right. So we're ready to roll. Sometimes, when you first roll it out, if it comes out dry, which it shouldn't do, but if it does, a good little tip is to just get a little bit of that liquid food, which is great, and just oil your table up. Just put a little bit on there, and that'll just help with the rolling process. Cool. So, first sausage comes out. And down. If you wanted to, you could literally just leave them like that and put them straight in the pan and boil them like that. And like we was talking about earlier, different shapes, So it's so easy. You don't even have to roll them, literally just press them out. saves you standing there with a knife cutting them all into pieces. So that does that job. Little roll. Yep. Push down, gentle roll, job done. Yeah? And now all you got to do is boil them. Suitable container, I've had this for years, I boil everything in this, all my baits, hemp, the lot. But you can just use a saucepan. So we've filled it up with water, we'll stick it on the stove. And wait for that water to boil.
Well then, Joe, a sadly familiar place for me to be chained to, the oven.
Yeah, I'm sweating here. Swan buckets.
Right, cool. So there they are. That's the finished article.
That's your bait.
Yeah. So what we're doing now, what I mean in terms of like boiling times, what we're looking 2 or 3 minutes, or you know?
2 minutes maximum, really. A lot of boilies do have different boiling times, but round about 3 minutes maximum. The longer you boil them, to remember, the harder they get.
Yeah.
The least you boil them, the softer they stay.
Yeah.
But they will always get a skin on. So if you're fishing somewhere, personally, I love fishing them really soft. So if you're fishing somewhere 20-30 yards, no nuisance fish.
Yeah. Can I tip them in while we're
chatting?
You
can tip them in.
Okay,
Go for it.
Yeah. Go on.
20 minutes. No, 20 minutes. What am I talking about? No nuisance fish or nothing like that. You'll find that will just give them a skin. Leaving them in there for 40 seconds, 50 seconds, literally a minute, not maximum, will just give them a nice skin.
If you overboil them, you get rid of a lot of the flavour as well and stuff, don't you? I mean, it's like any food stuff, innit? You know, the more you cook it, you know, the more. Certainly with boiling.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, I mean, I can't take it in. You know, I mean, in terms of like from start to finish. You know, from obviously we're making a little film in the kitchen here, but I mean, what's it taken? 10 minutes or something in total?
Yeah, I mean, if you was really desperate for some bait, you know, you've just made. You've got at least 30-40 baits there. Yeah. And we could have done miles more than that.
Loads more. I mean, obviously it's not a case of just 30 or 40 baits. I mean, once you've got everything out and you've started doing it, I mean, you could have looked trebled easily that, couldn't you? Yeah, and still probably done it in sort of 10 minutes, you know? Yeah, a couple of egg mix or something, or 3 egg mix. And,
I think the main thing is like people tend to think that there's so much involved that you know, you need so many bits and pieces to be able to do that. Yeah. And then that takes up all your time. But once you've got a gun and a table and a couple of buckets or one to boil the water in, there's no time there at all, is there? It's done in no time, like we've just proved. Yeah, brilliant, mate. Which is the thing. So there you go, John. It really is that simple. Fancy a trip up to the supermarket?
Yeah, cool, mate. I spend half my life there.
Yeah, let's go.
Come on.
There you are. Where you been? Been looking for you everywhere. So that's one to look at. That's a good one. Fish sauce. They otherwise call this non-plar. You can find that really good. You can use it as glugs. You can stick it in your bait. Do what you like with it, really. Highly soluble, so it leaks out of baits well. You know, which is a good one. Let's have a look. See what else we've got. Soy sauce. Obviously, a good old flavour for your food anyway. But in a bait, there's another one. Soy sauce. And the old teriyaki sauce as well. Slightly hot, got a little bit of a kick to it, but good winter one, that one, added with a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, let's have a look around, shall we? Here's another old favourite, Tabasco, especially for the winter. Get on it for the winter. I love a bit of that. I mean, a lot of these liquids could be used, you know what I mean? Things that people don't really think about using, but a lot of these things can be used. Garlic, pepper, you know, you've got different hotnesses as well, different spices, barbecue sauces. All this can be used because it's all protein. It's all soluble protein liquids. Here's another good one. Salt, slightly less sodium in it, but does the job just the same. It's a lot cheaper in the supermarkets. You know, you can buy it. But don't go mad with it. It's not one of them things that you can just bucket loads of salt in. It's no good for the fish for a start. But you know, little bits is really good. Everything in small doses. Right, another good one is all the herbs and spices. You've got your chili powders. Where are we? It's there somewhere. Yeah, this is a good one up here. Hot chili powders. Great for all spod mixes. You can stick them in stick mixes, whatever you want to do with them. Crushed chilies, they're really good for your spod mixes again. or in your hemp. You can put them in your hemp, and all this sort of stuff's really good. Anyway, anyone seen John? There you are. Where you been?
20 bottles, half price look for a tenner. Thanks. 275ml bottles.
What would you like? So there you go. Never underestimate your local supermarket.
Because it really is full of hidden treasures. Okay, Joe, so that was the supermarket tour. I mean, as you said before we went, it really is a labyrinth of hidden treasure in terms of bait making ingredients, isn't it?
Oh, blimey, yeah. I mean, there's so many little bits and pieces you can find around there, you know. You could spend a whole day there if you really wanted to. But once you get your head around what you want to use, you can just like single out those ingredients.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of adding things, I know it's all for human consumption, but can you go over the top, put too much of one thing in?
Just everything within reason. You
Yeah.
know, just don't go overboard with anything. There's no reason for it, is there? And like I say, you know, if you go to a supermarket, most of us men don't like being in supermarkets much longer than we need to be. So we're in and out, get your bits and pieces, job done. You know.
Yeah, cool. Well, Joe, you said today you'd come up here and you would show us how to make bait in 3 easy steps, and you did that.
Yeah.
We had the egg, we had the powder, we had the liquid. We didn't put our own spin on it today with the chili and the salt and all the fish soups and stuff, but we actually looked at that.
Yeah.
And again, you know, we looked at the
Give yourself
possibilities.
ideas,
Yeah, of course. But lovely. Thanks for coming up, Joe.
No
and it's
problem.
been a real great insight to
Anytime.
actually just how easy it really is.
Yeah, simple.
Thank you. See you next time.
Thanks a lot.